Hey everybody, Rich Lovell with the Vacaville Baseball Barn, Master Instructor with Epstein Hitting System, and I want to do a little video today on the grip. I don't know if I've ever done one before because I take care of this in the very first moments of a lesson, but it basically boils down to this. A lot of people get into this really, hey, you got to have the knocking knuckles lined up, or you have to have your knuckles, the knocking knuckles on the top hand between the two knuckles on the bottom hand, or whatever is said. Really what it boils down to this is a personal preference by the hitter. And this gets into our aspect of the swing that we really don't teach, but we do make suggestions and recommendations, and that's the style of the batter. Mike Trout, for example, great hitter, obviously. To me, I think he's the reincarnate of Mickey Mantle, but he has a box grip. And most other pros are going to be somewhere in the middle. And I'll just kind of scoot in a little bit, and you can see where my knocking knuckles, are in between the knocking on my bottom hand and my big knuckles there, or the knocking knuckles up here. And that's how most people are. Personally myself, I get the bat way down into my fingers. It allows me to keep less tension in my forearms. And that's one of two really, really important keys that you want to keep in mind here. One, get it far enough down into your hands to where you're not choking the bat or feeling like you're choking it, which then tenses everything up, which tense muscles are obviously weaker and slower. Probably the most important aspect of the grip would be to make sure that you have some top or some bend in this top hand. Wrist bend. We don't want our hand bowed over like this. We want it just slightly cupped, or we would call this a cupped wrist. So when you take your grip, however it lines up in your hands doesn't really matter. I can make that happen. All I want to do is make sure we get here. Here's why. As I get ready and I may come into contact, if my wrist starts out like this, I'm already at this point, I've got to make some kind of correction, which is going to make me roll my wrist early and over the top of the ball. So we want to make sure this way that we can, as we pull our bat through, our wrist stays, let's say, anywhere from flex to somewhat neutral as I go through the ball, and then I can get full extension out here, where if I were like this, that is really difficult. Not really painful right now, but ultimately or eventually it could become painful. So again, personal preference to most hitters, how they want to hold their hands on the bat. My preference is down towards the pads just above the fingers here, so that I can keep my arms nice and loose, nice and relaxed, and then make sure that I have this bow or this bend kind of backwards in my wrist. That way I can get ready to stay nice and relaxed and then get in and make my swing. So if you have any questions about that, send me a quick message. Check us out on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already, and send us out to all your friends.